So, Mckayla, you are running in Maryland's 5th district against Steny Hoyer. He is, you would probably know more than I how long he's been in Congress. He's 80 years old. I would imagine he's been there for decades.
Yeah, he's been there for almost 40 years, since
For almost
1981.
for almost 40 years, like multiple eras ago, frankly. He has used that time, is my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, he's used that time to not only obviously to ascend in the party in terms of he was whip for a long time, and now he's number two to Nancy Pelosi. But one of the strengths that he had was that he could raise a lot of corporate money because of where he's from, and therefore it freed him up to go and raise money for other people. And to a large extent, that is how he garnered his power. You are not going to raise a lot of corporate money relative to him. Give me a sense of what that disparity looks like right now.
Yeah, so our campaign is strictly grassroots. We don't take any money from any corporate PAC. And so far, we've raised over $70,000, but all of our contributions are from small donors, typically with the average contribution of about $20 per person.
Now, my understanding is that Steny Hoyer has raised somewhere around $650,000, and just $185 of that $650,000 is from people donating less than $200. Is that correct? Because I'm reading that in a news story in BuzzFeed, and that number is stunning.
Yeah, less than 2% of his donors are small donors.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. All right, well, tell us a little bit about the 5th district. Who lives there? Who are being ostensibly represented? They must all be, if they're all being represented, they must all have a lot of money, because they don't seem to skimp when it comes to contributing to him. But give us a sense of who lives in the 5th district.
Yeah, so the 5th district is comprised of the working class. It's 60% white, but our district is completely gerrymandered. It's been rumored that Steny Hoyer actually had dealings in the drawing of our district. And so in our district, it's kind of a mix. So we have some city type areas, we have suburban areas, we have rural areas, and we also have coastal communities such as beaches on the water. So our district is very unique. And
so when you travel around the district, what are the problems that you think people have that I guess inspired you to run?
Yeah, so in our district, and I'm pretty sure this is a national issue, the number one concern is healthcare, because people are uninsured and underinsured. People are going into medical bankruptcy, and our healthcare is being treated as a commodity. And another thing that worries people is also climate change. Everyone is interested in the Green New Deal because we do have coastal communities in our district. And it's only amazing that our district has not been completely destroyed by a natural disaster. But it's only a matter of time before it does if we don't act now. Another concern of our constituents is affordable housing, because our district's affordable housing is pretty much a myth. And so that is a huge concern, especially amongst the renters in our district.
So you've got an issue set there, and so, when you go around, when you talk about, and I want to get to your personal story, because you have a pretty unique one for someone running for Congress, and frankly, that's I think in some respects it's becoming more and more common for people to have unique stories when they are challenging. But before we get there, I mean, what is Steny Hoyer? I mean, have you mentioned in terms of like housing issues, you've mentioned healthcare, you've mentioned climate change. Where has Steny Hoyer been on these?
So Steny Hoyer does not. I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a cold.
No
Steny
problem.
Hoyer does not support Medicare for all. He does not support a Green New Deal. He doesn't even have a plank for affordable housing on his website at all. So no one knows where he stands on that issue. And on the issue of criminal justice reform, which I didn't speak about before, I would say he's also on the wrong side of that as well. Even though he came out with a statement today on Facebook saying that he wanted to move forward with decriminalizing marijuana, but he just wrote a letter to a constituent on August the 26th of this year saying that he believed marijuana to be a gateway drug and was hesitant on legalizing it on the federal level.
Wow. And so, I mean, what do you anticipate how does he deal with this? I guess maybe you've just explained it. I mean, I've seen the reporting that said that he referred to like marijuana as a gateway drug, I guess all of 1 month ago. Apparently he's had some type of re-education or some revelation, which, good for him. But, is that how does he go? How has he won re-election for 40 years when he seems to be so completely out of touch from the concerns of the district?
In my opinion, it's name recognition. I mean, he's been in office for so long. He's been on our ballots for so long. And so, people are just like, okay, that's Steny Hoyer. He hasn't had, I want to say a credible challenger. I don't think ever that's actually going to make him run for his seat. So he was always safe. And I think now he knows he's not safe. And that's why he keeps flip-flopping with these decisions, such as the one that he just changed his mind on the legalization of marijuana. And also yesterday, he finally came out in support of impeachment of Donald Trump.
And I want to take a break here in just a minute or two, but I'm curious as to when you see these type of changes, does that give you a sense that he is, conscious of the possible threat to his seat?
Absolutely. And it also makes me not trust him way more than I already didn't trust him, because it's like now you're not even being genuine. Like, you're not doing this because this is what we want. You're doing this because you feel as though that your position is in jeopardy.
Interesting. And how much do you think that the folks like himself, as they look around at what's happened, with AOC, and with the other challenges, how much is that does he think that like there's a chance for this to happen in my district?
I would say now I would say that he thinks that it's a very likely chance that it would happen in this district. And it's showing in his stance on policy now. Just alone, with his stance on legalizing marijuana, that alone showed me like, okay, he's paying attention, like he's starting to get worried.
I imagine the district has changed quite a bit and the issues that people have changed quite a bit. How do you go out though? And there's a huge disparity in money. You do not take corporate PAC money. Steny Hoyer, I feel like not only does he take corporate PAC money, it seems to be almost exclusively big donors for him. Almost if he had made a proclamation, I'm only accepting big donor money, I don't know how he could get more statistically. But how do you go out there when you have a guy like Steny Hoyer? You explained to us in the last segment that a month ago he was telling constituents that marijuana was a gateway drug. Yet this week he comes out saying that, we should decriminalize it. And obviously, you don't have the resources that he has in terms of getting your broad message out there. How do you compete with someone like that and win?
To be honest, it's all about the ground game. I mean, Steny Hoyer has probably never had to knock a door in his life. He's probably never had to canvass or phone bank. So for me, it's all about going out into the community. It's also about increasing voter turnout and getting involved with politically disengaged communities, people who feel like the political system doesn't care about them. And I was one of those people, you know, and for me, I have kind of an advantage because I do resonate with so many of the people in my district. And so in a sense, I've already begun to gain trust because I'm not a typical politician. That's weird that I just called myself a politician, but I'm not a typical politician. I'm not a typical candidate that will run for Congress. And so when I go out and I talk to people in the community and they see that I'm a regular working class person and I tell them my life story and everything that I've been through, you know, that shows people, hey, like, we can trust her. You know, we don't have to worry about her straying away and, you know, supporting legislation on behalf of corporations over us.
Give us a sense of that personal story of yours.
Yeah, so my story, and which is one of the reasons why I decided to run, was because of my story and seeing how, you know, our systems, and we say that they're broken, but they're actually fixed. They're working exactly how they were intended to for the people that they were intended for. Specifically our criminal justice system, in which I was actually incarcerated for driving on a suspended license, which is a jailable offense here, because I could not afford to pay traffic tickets. And when that happened to me, I started to realize that, you know, these issues were systemic issues because I initially wanted to become a psychologist and work with people who were in prisons and juvenile detention centers. But as I got older and I started to see how the system really was, and I was incarcerated for driving on suspended license, and seeing women that were in prison that were stuck in jail because they couldn't afford $50 to pay to get out, is when I realized that it was a systemic issue. And I decided to use my life experiences, and I decided to use my frustration to turn it into legislation, because I think that is something that we need deeply now.
How old were you when you were incarcerated?
This was 2014, so I was 24.
So you're 24 years old. You have a number of what was it? Parking violations, moving violations.
Moving violations, yes.
That so you didn't turn your blinker on when you took a left or a right, or you rolled through a stop sign. You get a fine. You don't have the money to pay it, and so you get thrown into jail like it's debtor's prison. And the implications of having that criminal record are what? I mean, does that prevent you from sort of like moving forward with your life?
In a sense, kind of, because I have employment, but it is hard. Like, especially like recently, I was trying to look for another job, and because I have a security clearance, all this stuff pops up on my record, on my background checks. The driving on suspended license. I was also incarcerated for possession of marijuana when I think I was about 19 or 20 years old. And even though I was not convicted of the possession of marijuana, I was charged with it, it's still on my record, and I still get asked about it today, which is unfortunate because that's something that now we're talking about legalizing, and here it is, it's still on my record, and I'm being asked about it.
Right. And so are you counting on sort of just, I guess, the fervor of folks who realize like they have an opportunity to be represented by someone who deals on a daily basis with the same type of issues that they deal with on a daily basis?
Exactly, because that's literally everyone in my district. I mean, I feel like everyone can resonate with getting some type of ticket, or, you know, just life happening to them. Like maybe, you know, you forgot to pay your car insurance this month and, maybe you got a ticket for not having car insurance, or, I feel like everyone can just resonate with life happening, period. And like I said, that's everyone in our district. So, of course, that is completely what I'm counting on, is people realizing that we can lead from our firsthand experience. Like, it's okay to have someone who's not an entrenched incumbent in office. It's okay to have someone in office that's just like us, because that's how we get represented, that's how we get heard, and that's how we get seen.
We just have about 45 seconds left. I mean, when you're out there, like, what is it that you're looking for? Obviously, you're not looking for big corporate donations. What do you need to win this race?
Since we are grassroots, we definitely always are accepting contributions. Any dollar amount is okay. Any dollar amount matters. If anyone wants to make a contribution, you can do so at Mckayla2020.com/donate.
And I imagine also you guys are looking for a lot of volunteers if you're living in that district.
Yes. Also, we are always looking for volunteers because we are putting together a very strong ground game. So the bigger the team, the better. So we can canvas and get the word out. We can phone bank and get the word out. But it's definitely going to take the power of the people to make this work.
And what is the locale there?
Excuse me?
Like, what are the major cities, if people are listening? They don't realize they're in the 5th district.
Yeah, so the 5th district is parts of Prince George's County, parts of Anne Arundel County, all of Charles County, all of Calvert County, and all of St. Mary's County.
Well, Mckayla Wilkes, it's been great to talk to you. Good luck with your campaign, and wish you all the best.